Alright guys, this is Daniel Sobrano, and I'm going to show you part 2 of 6 ways to strengthen your hand for fighting in the street, or just for fighting in general. Alright, so this is the second part of it, and what we're going to do is go over a few techniques and things that you might not know how to do or have never heard of them, but it's going to make your hands very lethal weapons. Okay, they're easy to do. You don't have to do anything super fancy. You know, you all can do this. If you have a hand and you have 5 fingers, you can do this. All right, so it's not going to be no excuses like I can't do this or I can't. You will be able to do it, I promise. Okay, the next one I'm going to teach you guys is the pinky side palm heel strike. Okay, basically you take your palm heel and you divide it into 4 quadrants. Okay, that's what you do. Now the pinky, the lower quadrant next to the pinky, this area here is the more solid and stable position of the hand. If I was to push here, see it moves. I push here, it moves it. I push here with a thumb, you think the thumb would be really strong, but it moves. But if I push here, it don't move. It's solid. And why is that? The reason why is because of the bone here of the ulna bone of the forearm. It's thicker back here, it's slimmer here, but it's thick, so when you're pushing it, it's just ramrod hard and solid. It doesn't move, okay? So because it doesn't move, when you palm heel strike somebody, if you aim this area as your striking technique against the individual, it would be like getting hit with a solid piece of iron, you know, right into the individual, just slapping them into it and stabbing them with that section. And it'll be very hard, your hand won't fold over, and it won't hurt your wrist, and it won't collapse your fingers, okay? So this is very solid. For you guys that like to lift weights, if you're bench pressing, if you put the bar in that spot, it doesn't bend and twist the arm, so you'll be able to lift your weight, and you'll be able to stabilize it as you're bench pressing, and it gives you a better and stronger bench, okay? It's a really awesome technique, or to when you strike somebody, and they'll never realize how much power you'll be able to generate if you hit from that point when you strike somebody in the face or in the neck or in the jaw, you know. So again, the pinky side palm heel strike is the best way to strike with the palm heel, and again, it'll cause major damage to the individual structure, to the shoulders, whoever you hit it with, if you use that part of the palm. All right, so that's the pinky side palm heel strike. Okay. The next one I'm going to teach you is the fingertip striking, but with a twist, okay? Now, I showed you earlier the pinky side palm heel strike, and the thing about what I wanted to add to that is that's why the 3-knuckle landing is such a very powerful strike, because it's, again, curled on that side of the palm, the pinky side, and it will not bend. Once you strike, it'll be solid. And this is another reason why striking with the 3-knuckle landing is recommended by me than the 2-knuckle landing. Okay, it's more solid and it won't bend. Obviously, if you use the extended finger and you can hit all 4, then it's even the maximum amount of stability and strength in your fist if you do it that way. But again, if you don't do that part, but you want to hit over here and you're just striking, understanding that the 3-knuckle landing using that palm heel, pinky side, is a very awesome combination, and it'll cause a lot of damage to the individual. Okay. Now, this fingertips, what happens is, I was taught how to use fingers and poking the eyes and everything, but what I never liked about it was that when you did it, if you weren't trained or hadn't trained for a while, your fingers will start caving in and crunching, and you could break them, and it'd be easy to, you know, to mess up your fingers, and then you can't make a fist and you can't hit, right? So I didn't find it very street worthy when you're fighting with somebody. Then you get your fingers out there, and if you hit it wrong, you're gonna break your fingers. So I just never liked it, and I just never wouldn't use it. The only time I could use it is if I had the guy's head stabilized, and I could start shoving my fingers in his eyes. But obviously, you know, when he's moving around, you know, trying to rake it or something, you can end up breaking your own hands if you don't watch out what you're doing. Okay, so I learned again from Carl Sesteri, and he taught how to use your fingers, but he didn't use the tips, he used the pads of the fingers. You see, if I use the tips, this is steel, so I use the tips, you know, it hurts when I'm hitting the tips of the fingers, and it's like they crunch in. But if I use the pads, then I can strike really hard and it doesn't hurt as much as it hurts on the tips. And I can really get a good solid shot when I'm using all 5 fingers or 4 fingers or what have you into the eyes, into the throat, right, and into the side of the nose. You can really hurt and cause a lot of damage. I once hit a guy on the chest here to show him how the strength of the finger pads as opposed to the tips, and he was in shock how much pain I caused. I even gave him 4 little bruises where the 4 fingers hit on his clavicle. Okay, so it was a very strong and powerful technique. If you're going to use that, what I would suggest you doing is getting a sandbag of anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds, 15 pound sandbag, and just throw it up and catch it, and really grab it with the pads of your fingers. Wham! Pick it up, flick it up, grab it, and in time, those fingers are going to be very lethal when you start grabbing guy. They become like a instant Wolverine, with your fingertips, or the pads of your fingers. So in a street situation, man, you hit somebody in the face, boom, hit them and they're solid. It's like it'll cause a lot of damage to the individual. If anything, it'll stun him enough so that you can strike him with your fist right up behind it. Okay, so it works really well in a street fight, and I recommend that better. Also, you don't have to stretch your arm. You can keep your hands like semi in like a C again position, and you're able to really strike with those pads of your hand, and you cause a lot of damage. And it's a lot faster and easier to learn how to do that than it is with the fingertips, right? So it's a good technique. I like it, and I use it, and a lot of the students I've taught here at the gym use it too. So it works really well, and I like it. All right. So that is the finger pad striking position with the hand. All right, guys. I hope that the information I gave you will be of benefit to you. Leave your comments, at the bottom of the page, if it's on YouTube. Like the video, that way we can get more people to check it out, Again, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. I'll be bringing you guys a lot of information that mostly never is being taught or shown on any place on YouTube, and if it is, a lot of times it's never really fully explained, so you don't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. I like to explain why you're going to do what you're going to do. That way, it gives you more confidence when you're doing it, There's always going to be 2 types of people that as far as in my experience when I've trained, is one will do what I tell them without even thinking, because that's what they're going to do. They're like soldiers, they do what I'm told, or what they're told, and they're going to do it. And then you have the other guys that are, why do I do it that way? Because they want to know the why. Once it makes sense to them, then they'll do it because it makes sense. That's how I am. I have to know why certain things work, and then once I understand it, then I'll do it. So those are usually the 2 types of people that I've trained, and so I know how to deal with both types, and that's why I'm giving you this information, so that way you can understand the why, but I also show you, just do it like this, and so I get both of you guys, so at least the best of both worlds, and I'm able to show you both how to do it properly. All right? So until next time, this is Dan Sobrano telling you take care, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.